Hi everyone again. I'm going to make this video dedicated towards the aura, the human aura, and basically I'm going to talk about um, the interactions of the aura with the outside world and with ourselves as well. So the human aura surrounds us, it surrounds everybody. That's what I've found. But sometimes other people don't really have them, or they're harder to see, and then other people have really big bright auras. So that seems to be the difference that I find, is that some people have them, some people auras are not as big. Same as with myself, sometimes I have a much bigger, brighter aura, other times it's a bit harder to see. So, but all the time we all have auras, so they seem to change in size, and they seem to affect us differently as well. So what I mean by that is that when I start seeing auras, I experience health benefits. Um, so like if I've got sores or anything, or mosquito bites, that sort of thing, they generally will disappear if I start to see auras. So, or heal much quicker. So that's a lot what's considered to be healing, and a lot of people call that spiritual healing. And it's about sort of healing the aura when it's damaged or whatever, or more so when it's just not really there. So when I see auras, or when other people will see auras, they'll see a film around the hand. So around my hand here, you might see a glow. You'll see a little. So you'll see a little film. It goes about there, and it will go around. You know, sort of closer, very close. So go, yeah, about there. And same as this finger as well, the human aura will be about that for the first layer, just where I put that, so about there. Yeah, so that would be the first layer of the aura, which I find for all human beings, is they all have that layer of the aura there. And then you'll also see outside of the aura too, on top of that first layer, then you'll see a bit more of it'll be like a gaseous flow, and it'll be about there. It'll be more of like wavy, and it might go sort of like there, and it'll be wavy sort of glow around the sort of body there. So that is going to be the human aura. You can also see it on the shoulders and so on. Clothes will generally have an aura too. So everything has an aura. Every material will have an aura to it. But generally, humans and trees and that sort of thing will have a very strong aura. Now, what I find is that when you start seeing the aura, everyone around you will see it as well. So we're sort of in these human shells, and when we push our bodies to the limit physically, we run a marathon or something, it'll start to rattle, and it'll start to get weaker, and our body will no longer be able to use its senses, and we'll be relying on our spirit senses, or whatever, however you define it, on those senses, and that's why we can start to see it. So sleep deprival is a big one. When people don't sleep, that's what happens. And some people inadvertently have these habits to push the body, and they don't understand why, but they seem to get more insights when they're pushing themselves to the limit, and that's really getting in touch with themselves. So when you're looking at the aura, that's generally what you're going to find. Now, it takes a bit to sort of you can also weaken that shell just by increase your spiritual senses by just trying to see the aura. So you can just put your hand there, and okay, I'm just going to try and see the aura now. Like, by doing that, you're weakening those spirit senses. So you're making it so you can see. You're relying on those spirit senses in a sense. So when you do see the auras, then you'll notice that your hands will be more smooth, like they'll be more smooth. You might notice like things like you just feel a bit different. You'll just feel, I don't know, there'll be just this slight difference there that you'll notice. But of course, the biggest one is that you'll see that haze around things, and when you see it around yourself, you'll generally start seeing it around other things too. And another thing is that you'll see energy. So there's energy and there's auras as well. So energy is just, all around us, everywhere. And you see it almost like you see dust or like air sort of thing. It's like you're seeing air and you're seeing it just sort of move around, particles moving around. So that's another thing that you'll see. But if you're an empath, you'll probably see other people's auras. You'll see a guy walking down the street and you'll see a film around him. A lot of people see colors. Now, I've seen colors too, but usually it's first that film first, and then you'll see the gas for the second layer, and generally that's the one you see in color. So a lot of people say, oh, I saw this green guy, he had a green aura, and at the end of the speech, a few people come up to him and say, do you have a green aura? And he says, yeah, I'm a spiritualist and I've got a green aura. That's what I try and build up or whatever. And, so when one person can see it or is aware of it, other people are opening up to that sense. Some people don't, though. Some people don't want to see it or don't recognize that. They don't... They see it, but a lot of people are in denial about the truth of life because they don't want to get into that, just their choice sort of thing. So nothing against those kinds of people who don't find value in the spiritual life. They'll find it once they pass over. That's all fine, because we live this life here as sort of just enjoying life, relaxing, just live life, learn lessons, yay, and then you pass on, crossover, and then you've got that's when it all starts. You go back to that, and the human life is really just for learning and lessons. At least that seems to appear to be what it is based on what we see, because we see this aura and it's almost like we've got this spirit, and this human body is a shell. After death, 72 hours, the aura leaves the body. That's been recorded by Curlian photography, so they can diagnose when someone dies based on when their aura is going to disappear. If it's gone, it's more than 72 hours. If it's still there, it's within 72 hours, and they can record it and see when it leaves. When someone concentrates or see auras, their own aura expands. So when you're not seeing auras, your aura, it's not that your aura is not there. Okay, it's that your physical senses, you're inside that shell sort of thing, and then when you break open the shell, that's when your aura starts coming out. So it's a way of protecting us as well. Like, you don't want to be sort of, a lot of people have spiritual attacks and that sort of thing, and that's usually involved with perceived negativity. So they've got negativity revolving them, and they can't stop thinking negative thoughts. So if you learn to use the mind before you go into this sort of thing, you'll come out much better. The way auras interact is that when I found that with sickness, like a lot of people, if they've got a sickness, like let's say they got something wrong, generally I found that the aura layers were sticking to the base, and then you'd see them unstick that first layer. So the first layer, let's say I was having a problem there, generally you won't see any aura there when you try and look at it, but the more you try and look at it, the more it manifests, more, and it unsticks from that base layer, and it starts to become more prominent around the outsides there, and you do see it. So it's quite interesting. And also trees and stuff, if you see unhealthy trees and so on, they'll generally have a damaged or weaker aura. But damaged or weaker aura is a bad perception, because it's not actually that. It's more like the physical body is damaged, and the aura around it seems to be looking, it's not as big. But when we die, that our aura gets really big. So when we push ourselves, exert ourselves, so it's like it's a bit confusing. So I think a very good thing is to not be too worried about having a damaged aura. In a sense, you can't really damage your spirit per se. You know, some people come across things like possessions and hauntings and that sort of thing. But really, if you do this safely, if you just look at auras and you don't try and get into things that you don't understand, you won't run into too many problems. Yeah, so the thing is that you've really got to not just believe what people tell you, but you've got to experience it for yourself. Okay, that's a very important thing, is that if you see the auras, then great, you know, you've got that understanding, and that's a part of you now. You're evolving, but you can't expect other people to understand that. You can't expect other people to know it. And they'll immediately criticize it because they haven't seen it, and it challenges their way of thinking. And we're thought to protect our way of we protect our way of thinking as just natural instincts. So yeah, it's an interesting way in how the aura interacts with us. When you've got a big when you expand, your aura expands, meaning you're becoming more looking through the spirit eyes, and your spirit's more manifesting. It's harder to fit in. You can't. It's almost like you can kind of know what other people are thinking, and it's harder to. And they know that you know what they're thinking as well, and it's harder to exist down here. Like in this earth, you can't go and work like that. Being this, you know, almost like psychic. At the workplace, it's too hard for people because they're being challenged, they're being faced with these great existential truths, and you know, it's a hard thing for people to take, and that's just a very careful. So you got to be, if you sort of seeing auras, you have to be responsible with it as well. So it comes with that sort of responsibility that that you don't try and push people into that way of thinking. You let them find for themselves, and a lot of people will do that, and a lot of people also like the idea of it and romanticize it and make all these like documents about it and all these layers and how they equate to different things, and they sort of fantasize what's really there, you know, and then you sort of forget about auras and you're lost in the idea of it. So the important thing is that you see it for yourself. You don't try and bring it down to human words or understanding too much, and you just really suppress your mind. I'll make a video on that, and you just really enjoy what's there. If you write a book about how amazing trees are, you're not actually out there looking at the trees. So David Attenborough said that when he was had a pond and he saw this rare bird or duck come in there, and he was rushing around looking for his camera to film it, and then soon he realized that he wasn't actually enjoying it. So he just stopped the search and said, yeah, I'm going to enjoy it, and look at the bird and enjoy it. So that's the thing, is that you've just got to not worry too much about trying to document everything into writing or that sort of thing, or trying to prove it. Just look at it and enjoy it there. It's like looking at a tree. It's like looking at life. It's looking at your own life, and just enjoy it and understand and develop. So that's a important thing for people to understand it, and a lot of you do understand that. A lot of people, most people will understand this, and I hope that this is more of a supportive way of saying, yes, you know, you're on the right track sort of thing, and having just someone to verify that for them, because that's what a lot in raising your consciousness level up is having people to verify your beliefs and saying, yeah, I experienced that too, and that's what I got as well, and yeah, that's everything you're doing is you're way far ahead. So yeah, that's a bit on another sort of video about auras. I will make more and go into a bit more depth, but I feel that just this basic understanding, which is just easy for people to take in, and very interesting perhaps for people who do see auras and just want to see another point of view on it, and just see, is there what is who are these other people who see these auras? Like, I see them too, but what about these other people? What do they make of it? So it's all sort of just constructing an understanding about it, and that's sort of my point of view in relation to how auras sort of affect us and people around us as well. So Thanks for watching again, and yeah, thanks.